It's time for an apple fritter. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day's The Fritter. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. Driving is freedom. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean you have to lose that freedom. If you have a medical condition or a disability, and if you can find a company that can convert a minivan for accessibility, you likely want to know if you're eligible to operate a vehicle. A medical condition or disability doesn't necessarily mean you can't or won't be allowed to drive. In most states, people with certain medical conditions and disabilities must take a standard battery of tests at the Department of Motor Vehicles, or as we lovingly call them, the DMV, to determine whether or not they can operate a vehicle safely. If you pass the test, you're good to go. If you're unable to pass the test, you still have options. Often, it's simply a matter of having your vehicle outfitted with adaptive equipment. For instance, people with a disability that affects the legs are often able to drive using hand controls installed on the driver's side. A person with a disability who wants a driver's license follows the same process as anyone else. In most states, you must first pass a knowledge exam and a vision exam to obtain a learner's permit. This temporary permit allows you to drive with a licensed driver in the front passenger seat. At this point, you should make the DMV aware of any medical conditions or disabilities that may affect your driving, including epilepsy, strokes, and other neurological conditions, mental health problems, physical disabilities, and vision and hearing impairments. Your state may require your physician to fill out additional paperwork identifying which, if any, mobility equipment is necessary for you to drive safely, as well as if you can utilize a handicap placard that would permit you to park your mobility vehicle in designated handicap spaces. Your state's Department of Motor Vehicles website should have the required forms online for downloading and printing. It's possible the DMV will put a restriction on your permit, allowing you to drive only vehicles upgraded with specialized driving aids. Once you know the adaptive equipment you need to safely drive, you'll need to obtain a vehicle with the adaptive equipment you'll be using to take your driving test. You'll also need to get car insurance that covers drivers with disabilities and special riders. Then, you'll be directed to take a driver's education course. Many driver's education companies cater to drivers with disabilities and have accessible vehicles available to train you in. They'll teach you everything you need to know to drive with the mobility equipment to pass both the written and driving parts of the license exam. Laws have also been put in place to further accommodate drivers with disabilities. Most people don't know that when a handicapped driver pulls into a self-service gas station, now listen to this, this is really important. I didn't know this either. When a handicapped driver pulls into a self-serve gas station, a station attendant is required to pump the gas for you at no charge. There should be signage explaining how to get the attendant's attention without having to exit the vehicle, like honking the horn. The only exception to this law is when there is only one attendant on staff at the gas station, although it's still strongly recommended that they accommodate you. This is a law across the nation, not just in one state, across the nation. So I'm going to repeat this. When a handicapped driver pulls into a self-serve gas station, a station attendant is required to pump the gas for you at no extra charge. There should be signage explaining how to get the attendant's attention without having to exit the vehicle, like honking the horn. The only exception to this law is when there's only one attendant on staff at the gas station, although it's still strongly recommended that they accommodate you. Like I said, it's a law. Again, driving is a freedom, and just because we have a disability doesn't mean that we should have to give up that freedom. So find out what you need to get your license and get yourself back on the highway. Get yourself back on the road again, as Willie Nelson said. I want to thank you for stopping by here today, and I want to remind you, no one ever went blind by looking at things from the bright side, my friends. So give it a shot. And do yourself a favor, do me a favor. Make someone smile today. You've been listening to an Apple Fritter. My name is Jimmy Apple, and I'm going to talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great day.
Join Jimmy tomorrow for another Apple Fritter. In the meantime, stop over at our YouTube group page, Living with a Disability, join in the conversation and make some new friends. See you next time.